Namaskar. We begin our journey with a respectful greeting, acknowledging the importance of understanding global relationships from a neutral perspective. Today, we unravel the complex relationship, a story of shifting alliances and enduring animosity between America and Iran. Namaskar. We begin our journey with a respectful greeting, acknowledging the importance of understanding global relationships from a neutral perspective. Today, we unravel the complex relationship, a story of shifting alliances and enduring animosity between America and Iran. Two nations, seemingly worlds apart, yet intertwined in a narrative that has shaped modern history. On one side, the world's superpower, a nation that projects its influence across the globe. On the other, a Middle Eastern nation with a rich history, a cradle of civilization with its own ambitions and grievances. For decades, these two have been locked in conflict, a dance of diplomacy and defiance. Sanctions, crippling economic measures designed to exert pressure. Threats, pronouncements that hang heavy in the air, hinting at potential escalation. And military posturing, a display of strength intended to deter, but often inflaming tensions further. But how did it all begin? What series of events led these two nations down this path? Why do two distant nations see each other as enemies? Is it purely strategic, or are there deeper ideological clashes at play? This isn't a simple story of good versus evil, a simplistic narrative often pushed by those with vested interests, but a geopolitical chess game with moves that shaped our world, influencing everything from trade to security. Once, America and Iran were close allies, partners in a region fraught with instability. Sharing interests during the Cold War, united against a common foe. Their friendship makes today's hostility even more dramatic, a stark reminder of how quickly alliances can crumble. Key events, pivotal moments that altered the course of history, a coup, a clandestine operation that reshaped Iran's political landscape, a revolution, a seismic shift that transformed Iranian society and its relationship with the world, a hostage crisis, a diplomatic nightmare that poisoned relations for decades, and a nuclear standoff, a source of constant anxiety and diplomatic maneuvering, deepened the divide, creating a chasm that seems increasingly difficult to bridge. The consequences ripple worldwide, impacting nations far beyond the borders of America and Iran, affecting oil prices, a crucial commodity that fuels the global economy, global security, threatening the delicate balance of power and stability, and countries like India, who must navigate this complex geopolitical landscape with care. To understand today's tensions, the current state of affairs, we need to look back. We must examine the roots of this rivalry, tracing the origins of this enduring conflict. Let's begin our deep dive into the America-Iran saga, a journey through history, politics, and the human drama that lies at its heart. Before the seismic shifts of 1979, Iran was ruled by the Shah, a monarch whose reign was characterized by both modernization and growing internal dissent. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a figure who cultivated a close alliance with the United States, becoming a key partner in the region. His relationship with American officials was a cornerstone of his foreign policy. The Shah embarked on ambitious plans to modernize Iran, transforming its infrastructure and economy with rapid development projects. He also promoted education, investing heavily in schools and universities to cultivate a more skilled and knowledgeable populace. And he built strong ties with the West, fostering diplomatic and economic relationships that were intended to propel Iran onto the world stage. During the Cold War, America saw him as a crucial bulwark against Soviet influence in the Middle East, viewing Iran as a strategic asset. To bolster this alliance, America sold Iran advanced military equipment, including sophisticated aircraft and weaponry. American advisors were stationed in Iran to train Iranian forces in the use of this new technology and to strengthen military cooperation. Simultaneously, U.S. companies invested heavily in Iran's oil industry, drawn by the country's vast petroleum reserves and the potential for lucrative returns. But beneath this seemingly prosperous partnership, a deep undercurrent of resentment brewed, fueled by social and political tensions. Many Iranians increasingly viewed the Shah as an autocrat, a ruler who suppressed dissent and concentrated power in his own hands. His rapid modernization efforts were perceived by some as eroding fundamental Islamic traditions and values, creating a cultural clash. The immense wealth generated from oil primarily benefited a select elite, exacerbating the gap between the rich and the poor. While a small segment of society enjoyed unprecedented prosperity, the masses struggled with poverty, inflation, and limited opportunities. America's unwavering support for the Shah was increasingly viewed by many Iranians as tacitly backing a dictator, further fueling anti-American sentiment. The 1953 CIA-backed coup that ousted the democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh remained a potent symbol of foreign interference. The coup, which restored the Shah to power, planted deep seeds of mistrust and resentment towards the United States among a significant portion of the Iranian population. Over time, for many Iranians, America became synonymous with unwelcome interference in their nation's affairs and the suppression of their own political aspirations. These long-simmering seeds of resentment, nurtured by political, economic, and cultural grievances, would soon erupt in a revolution that would forever alter the course of Iranian history and its relationship with the world. 1979, the year of the Iranian Revolution. Widespread anger against the Shah exploded into mass protests. Ayatollah Khomeini, a charismatic cleric, returned from exile to lead the revolution. The Shah fled, the monarchy fell, an Islamic republic was born. Iran's new leaders rejected American and Soviet influence, charting an independent Islamic path. For America, this was a seismic loss, its key Middle Eastern ally gone overnight. The new regime labeled America the Great Satan, canceled military contracts, and expelled U.S. advisors. Iran's revolution shifted the regional balance, introducing revolutionary Islam as a new force. Iran now aimed to export its revolution, challenging U.S. allies like Saudi Arabia. The era of friendship ended. A new era of confrontation began. The world would never be the same. The 1979 revolution was followed by the Iran hostage crisis. Iranian students stormed the U.S. embassy, taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. They demanded the Shah's return, fearing another U.S.-backed coup. The crisis dominated headlines, humiliating America and paralyzing President Carter. For Iranians, the embassy was a den of spies, a symbol of defiance against foreign interference. Ayatollah Khomeini's support for the students united the country against America. The crisis ended in 1981, but the damage was done. Diplomatic ties were severed and mutual mistrust deepened. For Americans, Iran became a symbol of radicalism. For Iranians, America embodied imperial arrogance. The cycle of hostility was set in stone. Decades of hostility followed, but a new flashpoint emerged. Iran's nuclear program. Iran claimed peaceful intentions. America feared a secret bomb project. Years of sanctions and threats brought the world to the brink. In 2015, the Iran nuclear deal, JCPOA, was signed, limiting Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. For a moment, hope returned. Iran's economy improved, and diplomacy seemed possible. But the deal was controversial. Critics in the U.S. called it too weak. Iranian hardliners distrusted America. In 2018, President Trump withdrew from the deal, reimposing harsh sanctions. Trust collapsed and tensions soared once again. The nuclear issue remains unresolved, fueling suspicion and confrontation. The brief window for peace slammed shut. The world watched as old wounds reopened. Why does America consistently find itself at odds with Iran? What are the driving forces behind this long-standing tension? Officially, the narrative centers around national security. It's the justification most frequently cited in policy statements and public addresses. The U.S. and its allies view Iran as a significant threat to regional stability and global order. This perception is rooted in a number of factors. This includes pointing to its unwavering support for groups like Hezbollah, a powerful political and militant organization, and the Houthis, who control significant territory in Yemen and pose a threat to regional shipping lanes. Iran's nuclear ambitions remain a central and highly sensitive concern for the international community. These ambitions fuel fears of a potential regional arms race, destabilizing an already volatile part of the world. America insists that all options, including the possibility of military action, remain on the table as a deterrent, aiming to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Another critical reason often cited is the preservation of freedom of navigation in international waters. The Persian Gulf is undeniably vital for the global oil supply, serving as a crucial artery for energy markets. And Iran's repeated threats to potentially close the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic choke point, are consistently viewed as unacceptable red lines by the United States and its allies. The U.S. Navy maintains a strong presence in the region to ensure these vital sea lanes remain open and secure for international commerce. Finally, America frequently cites the promotion of democracy and the protection of human rights as key motivations. This involves consistently criticizing Iran's human rights record and lack of political freedoms. However, critics often argue that these stated reasons are frequently a convenient cover for underlying strategic interests in the region. The official justifications presented are often layered and multifaceted, encompassing security concerns, economic considerations, and deeply ingrained ideological differences. But the reality of the U.S.-Iran relationship is undoubtedly far more complex and nuanced than any single explanation can capture. From Iran's perspective, the conflict is about resisting American domination. Memories of the 1953 coup, U.S. support for the Shah, and backing Saddam Hussein in the Iran-Iraq War fueled deep mistrust. Iran sees its nuclear program as a sovereign right and a symbol of progress. They argue they're unfairly singled out, while neighbors like Israel and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. Iran's support for groups like Hezbollah is framed as backing the oppressed, not terrorism. Surrounded by U.S. military bases, Iran feels threatened and encircled. Sanctions are viewed as economic warfare, hurting ordinary people. The government uses this narrative to foster unity and defiance. For many Iranians, compromise with America seems impossible. The cycle of mistrust continues. The U.S.-Iran conflict is often a shadow war, fought with spies, cyber attacks, and proxy forces. Iranian nuclear scientists have been assassinated. Iran blames Israel and the U.S. Iran's Quds Force builds networks of allied militias, projecting power across the region. Attacks on U.S. bases or oil tankers are shrouded in deniability. Cyber warfare is constant. Stuxnet crippled Iran's nuclear program. Iran retaliates with its own cyber attacks. In 2020, the U.S. killed General Qasem Soleimani, Iran's top commander, in a drone strike. Iran responded with missile attacks on U.S. bases. For days, the world feared open war. Both sides stepped back, but the risk of escalation remains. The shadow war is always simmering. Why should this conflict matter to you? Tensions in the Persian Gulf can spike global oil prices, affecting your daily expenses. India faces a diplomatic challenge, balancing ties with both the U.S. and Iran. Projects like Chabahar Port and the safety of millions of Indians in the Gulf are at stake. Instability threatens global security, fuels terrorism, and risks humanitarian crises. A U.S.-Iran war would have catastrophic consequences worldwide. Understanding this history is essential for every global citizen. The story is not black and white, but filled with shades of gray. Past friendships, betrayals, and mistrust shape today's dangerous standoff. As 2025 unfolds, the future remains uncertain. Will diplomacy win or will conflict escalate? That's why you need to know this story. Jai Hind.
The attack on Iran was rooted in a complex web of geopolitical tensions. After years of escalating conflicts, the U.S. aimed to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions and its influence in the Middle East. The 2015 nuclear deal initially seemed promising, but when the U.S. withdrew in 2018, tensions skyrocketed. Iran's support for militant groups and its aggressive posturing in the region only fueled fears. The assassination of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020 marked a dramatic turning point, showcasing America's resolve to counter perceived threats. Ultimately, it was a clash of ideologies and power plays, with both nations locked in a high-stakes game of chess.